League Cup winners last season, FA Cup winners, of course, which is why they're here. And Alex Ferguson on the front right of Manchester United. So much for them to look forward to this season. Down the line of Manchester United. Do you still get a bit of a tingle for United, Gordon, or has it left you now? Are you a Leeds man?
I'm okay. I went to another great club. I'm okay, but I enjoy my 5 years here.
Arsenal do have a change to the design of their yellow kit. No longer the checkered flag formula that proved popular with their fans. Andy Linighan, the most unlikely hero at the FA Cup final replay. And crowning his most settled spell, really, in Arsenal's colours. The shot is from Ince, who finished last season's Premier League with a goal in each of the last 3 games.
Well, his shooting is normally better than this, but I think we can forgive him this early in the season for not quite getting it on target.
Well, they might get up and celebrate here for Manchester United if Giggs can weave some magic. Dennis Irwin, wonderfully consistent last season, gets in the cross, missed by Linighan, back by Cantona, and volleyed in by Mark Hughes.
Such a marvellous crossing of the ball, puts in a really telling cross. But just watch the way Cantona just teases it back in there. And when Mark Hughes is asked to volley the ball, he doesn't often miss the target. Really was superb execution from Hughes. Watch it again. Watch the shape of his body. When it comes, look at Hughes, eye on the ball, knee over it, even at that height. And that's a magnificent strike.
Parker. Cantona, very much back in business, got injured playing for France last month. Look at this for a pass, and it's Roy Keane. Just the sort of run that we expect from him. Now, can Manchester United round it off again? It's still with Keane. And it's Cantona, and it's David Seaman. That would have been delightful for Alex Ferguson to see, and for the Manchester United fans to appreciate. Not the shot from Cantona, but the run from Roy Keane.
Well, I said before the game that this is what I was looking for, and this is what I would expect from Roy Keane. He's a little bit unfortunate, he's taken it too wide, but he knows that, so he's aware. Tony Adams gets back and blocks it brilliantly, but he's still aware, picks out Cantona. When you think Eric's going to bury it, David Seaman makes a fine save.
Arsenal so used to playing at Wembley, their 5th visit since April. Here's Limpar, trying to impart some swerve there in a Scandinavian showdown, the Swede against the Danish goalkeeper.
Let's have a closer look at this goal though, and just watch the way Hughes connects it. Watch his shape. Well, he gets his shape in, look at that. I mean, that is classic, it is textbook.
Well, on this set of Manchester United shirts, the names are not in evidence. You can tell which favourite that young man has. It's this young man, Merson. Winterburn on the gallop outside him. Oh, awkward for Schmeichel, and the fortune that he had was that it bounced away from Kevin Campbell.
Well, that's a good run from Nigel Winterburn. Watch it just sit up about a yard in front of Peter Schmeichel. Really was a difficult one to take.
Merson's corner. Oh, and Schmeichel almost beaten to it again by Adams.
I think he probably made amends there. I think we'll probably find that he just gets a little touch to this. It looked for all the world that Tony Adams was just going to nick that in, but Schmeichel just stretched those fingertips.
And it's another corner. It's Hughes clearing. Winterburn. Well, Kanchelskis, who loves to run with the ball, and this is a great opportunity for him. Making tracks from the far side is Eric Cantona. And it was Jensen who also covered the ground facing his own goal. We might see from the angle behind the goal whether that would have gone in from Cantona.
I don't think it was going in, but how often last season did we see that type of play from Manchester United?
Linighan. Well, Ian Wright has just got away on the blind side of Pallister. Can he tee up Campbell here? He does. It ends rather embarrassingly for Arsenal.
Best run from Ian Wright in the game so far. It was never going to be an easy one. You saw Steve Bruce throw himself at Campbell's feet.
And even a defence as capable as Arsenal's looking shaky. Campbell, past Bruce, past Irwin. It's a great run from Campbell. Oh, and Schmeichel couldn't grasp it. And it was hoisted away by Pallister before Ian Wright could tap the ball into what would have been an unguarded net. More like it from Campbell. Limpar. Oh, that's delightful. And so was the shot.
Yeah, this is why George Graham's picked him. Beautiful footwork. And he's got the ability to look up and attempt a curler like that that's no more than a yard wide. But this is what I've been looking for from Kevin Campbell last season, that he didn't produce too often for Arsenal. That power, that direction. But here's the major difference. I think had that been at the other end, we'd have had Ince and Keane coming in to tap into an empty net.
And two are enough. Nigel Winterburn alongside Jensen. Giggs gets it back a second time. Ince calls for it, gets it, and very nearly gets a second for Manchester United.
Yeah, they weren't that many better than this. He gives Steve Bruce an early call to get out the way, and this starts dipping just about now. And a yard later, that goal would have been a yard or two further back, that would have taken the net off. Strikes it superbly, then it starts to dip, but just a fraction too late.
Should be looked at closely because it's a high level. Game being played at such pace. And with Bruce down here, there are always going to be casualties.
Just gets caught late on there by Ian Wright. My two centre-backs would be my main worry and respect it. How good is his cover below that? I think we'll look at this squad and Fergie all over the park will think, I'm covered everywhere. And I'm not so sure just how well covered it would be in that centre-back area if we were to lose one of those two.
He's got Paul Parker, who's done that job, but that would necessitate, obviously, another change. And what he has got also is that crop of very promising young players that got to the final of the FA Youth Cup. Gary Neville and Chris Casper were in England's under-18 party.
Yeah, he'd fill in quite easily there.
Wright! Oh, how does he do it? How does he do it? Ian Wright. Sensational shot. It's 1-1.
Well, if this is a little example of what we're about to see in this first Premiership season, then I, for one, can't wait. He's had a quiet first half, but that drops there. He knows exactly where the goal is. His decision's an instant one. I'm going to hit this. And Peter Schmeichel can only do what you and I did, Martin. Stand and admire it.
Ince not wanting to just knock the ball out of play. But in the end, it's cost Manchester United a free kick. Davis with a free kick, a chance for Arsenal to get in front. Right on half-time. Kevin Campbell, the ball brushing his brow.
And by his good movement, it allowed Campbell to get the free header in.
Here's Keane. Half-time, 1-1. If you just heard the scoreline, and I would think feeling just a little bit disappointed that they don't begin the second half leading. Manchester United, who finished last season's championship with 7 straight wins. In this range, the greater odds are that he will clip it up for the likes of Bruce and Cantona, or maybe not. He's having another look at what David Seaman set up, and he goes round the wall, but plopped into the arms of a goalkeeper who was once beaten from that type of range by Paul Gascoigne.
Yeah, I think Paul Gascoigne hit it with a little bit more venom than this one. You see what Dennis is trying to do. He's trying to bend it into David Seaman's left-hand side of his goal there, but didn't quite get it right.
And Jensen reacting very quickly. And it's Kevin Campbell for Arsenal. And still and taken out of Schmeichel's hands by Bruce's header. Linighan got a toe in. Merson. Ince couldn't intercept that time. Merson going round the outside, but still going. Oh! Well, you see where that ended up by Bruce's clearance, and it could easily have flown into his own net after terrific play by Merson.
The most positive piece of play from Paul Merson, but good defending, not just that time. But the header before, when he headed it clear, Steve Bruce took the initiative and cleared these lines.
Michael Merson. Pallister is the defender under pressure from Campbell. And Campbell betted him, but not Schmeichel. Jensen again working back well. Ince too much on the left of him. And he goes it alone. With Kanchelskis trying to get out of his way as well.
Not quite his strongest, and he's leaning back. You can see that he's stretching for it. And that's the reason it went over the bar. But this is a move from Arsenal earlier. Look, the diagonal ball picks out Campbell. Now, as soon as a defender's turned like that facing his goal, the striker should be boss. And in this occasion, Campbell is, but can't quite beat Schmeichel.
Merson, who suddenly got into the game as the dominant force, was on an ambitious run. Foul by Adams, who was quick to apologise. It wasn't as quickly accepted by the fiery Irishman, as Keane was caught by the Arsenal captain. Robson steering it to Kanchelskis. He's going to cross it this time with his left foot. No. Oh, when the cross came, it was worth waiting for, and Cantona tried to find extra room for the extra touch, and Nigel Winterburn really slammed the door in his face with a terrific tackle. Here's Cantona again, hoping to tee up a teammate. Or one or two available, Robson and Ince. Now Parker. With speed and strength, and fouled by Campbell coming back.
This is a wonderful... Look at the way that Cantona just pulls on the back of Tony Adams. He thinks he's got time to pull it down. But what a tackle from Nigel Winterburn. Excellent stuff.
Free kick though to Manchester United. 17 minutes left. Here goes Kanchelskis!
But David Seaman's happy to see this goal. He seems to react a little bit late, David. And he strikes it quite beautifully. Sweet as anything. Look at that. Power was there. Just a fraction out in the accuracy. Because it would be foolish for us to think that there won't be a period in the second half when Manchester United won't threaten.
Davis. Wright against Bruce. Well, made the goalkeeper make a save it. Perhaps the most convincing one. You wouldn't have thought Schmeichel would drop the ball like that. Cantona. Kanchelskis to his left. And coming in on the right, it's Roy Keane. Well saved by Seaman. Kanchelskis. And blocked without flinching by Adams.
Oh yeah, but this is all down to the genius of Eric Cantona. The old adage, if you can't go through them or round them, go over them. Look at that for vision and class. Keane keeps his head here, but this is where Seaman shows all the class that he possesses. Wonderful one-handed save.
That's a great ball by Hughes for Ince. Jensen. It's no penalty. But if Jensen played the ball, David Seaman has just picked it up. Let's see here.
Well, we look at it as we go in. That's a penalty, and I'll tell you why he didn't give it. Gerald Ashby had an awful view of it. He's directly behind us. You can see it's Ince who gets the touch. Jensen takes him down. In anyone's book, it's a penalty, but the referee had an awful view of it, Martin. He really did.
Well, either a penalty, and if not, a back pass, and Seaman just scooped the ball up. Oh. And then suddenly, Ian Wright reminds us again that if you look away at a slow-motion replay of a previous incident, when the ball's in play, you're playing a dangerous game, because in a flash, it could have been 2-1 Arsenal.
Incredible. No backlift, just instinctive. He knows where the goals are. what young kids should admire about him. He's probably had 2 shots at goal today. He's hit the target twice.
McGoldrick with the corner. Linighan. And it was Wright again who was moving in for the kill. And Schmeichel who somehow poured it away.
Great attacking of the ball by Linighan. Look at the way he attacks it. And the only reason that Ian Wright doesn't score there is it really landed at an awkward height.
That's a great take by Schmeichel. Full of authority. But Hughes trying to see that it's not to be settled by penalties for Cantona, but there wasn't quite the opening there. Penalties it is. After a fine exhibition in the 1993 Charity Shield. (1-1) after 90 minutes. The destiny of the Charity Shield depending on the penalty shootout, which Ince gets underway successfully. 1-0 to United.
Well, that was very confidently struck.
But what about Nigel Winterburn? 5.5 years ago, he missed a penalty in a League Cup final. It was saved by Luton's Andy Dibble. But here he goes now. Oh. Well, it wasn't the best of penalties, was it?
Well, it got the same as Paul Ince's very well struck penalty. But I think Ron Atkinson's theory, Nigel Spinks would have saved that one, that's for sure. Straight down the middle.
Well, now it's a player who's taken plenty for Manchester United. Steve Bruce never shirks the responsibility. Here goes Bruce this time. Yes. The longer the wait, the greater the pressure, and the greater the satisfaction if you do score.
Lovely position as well. David Seaman, no chance.
Well, I must say, I am surprised it is John Jensen to confront Peter Schmeichel. The 2 Danes at Wembley Stadium. And Jensen has the power. And Schmeichel is powerless to prevent it being 2-2.
And Arsenal, well, they've just gone for this. Foot behind it and power it in.
The responsibility passes now to Dennis Irwin. Such an excellent striker of a dead ball. But no! Seaman goes the right way. It's going to be decisive at the end of the afternoon.
It's at a good height for the goalkeeper. You see that? It's about a yard off the ground. They actually love them at that height. Strikes it well enough. David Seaman guesses right.
So now, Kevin Campbell with a chance to capitalise on Seaman's save. And he does so.
Goes a little bit early, I think, Peter Schmeichel there. And I think that made up Kevin Campbell's mind just to roll it in the corner.
Into the firing line comes Roy Keane. Very little margin for error for Manchester United now. Keane converts pretty much into the centre of the goal. But Arsenal still have the penalty in hand.
Well, if goalkeepers dive, then you're never going to miss it if you hit it down the middle.
Fourth up for Arsenal, who have a 100% record so far, is Paul Merson. And that 100% record is maintained. Well, there is no margin for error for Manchester United after this effort from Merson. Sorry, Andy.
No problem.
If Cantona fails, then the Charity Shield is Arsenal's. Can David Seaman pull out another stunning save? Look at that. That's arrogance beyond belief. Just tapped it into the corner.
Well, I suppose it's only right that so casually taking penalties set up the confrontation. What was it, a couple of weeks ago he knocked 2 past Peter Schmeichel. Law of averages would suggest he's going to miss one day against Peter Schmeichel. Perhaps it's today.
Ian Wright, one either side in Johannesburg just under 2 weeks ago, beating the Manchester United goalkeeper. And a penalty opportunity here to win the Charity Shield for Arsenal. No! He's been there once too often.
Well, you could sense it. I mentioned it, and you can sense it. The hero so often, and twice having scored in South Africa recently. I just felt, after that wonderful equaliser today, it just might not be his day. Incredible.
So, after the 5 appointed, it's 4 each. Brian Robson. The end can come very quick when you get into this sudden death situation. But Robson clears it in, and Manchester United now are in front. And suddenly Arsenal are under pressure.
There was no one moving from the centre circle. Great coolness from Brian Robson, wasn't it? David Seaman looks to be lining up for this one.
That's why no one's moving. Well, David Seaman. This is a rarity. One goalkeeper against the other. And Schmeichel saves. And Manchester United celebrate. The champions have triumphed in the summer showpiece yet again. Steve Bruce, who's making something of a habit of being there at the head of the line when the trophies are being handed out. It is, in the Charity Shield, Manchester United's day. Billy Wright makes the presentation. And those Manchester United supporters who set their alarm clocks this morning are rewarded for their trip.